Hello and welcome. You're watching youtube.com/NDTV. I'm Gargi Raut and I'm going to take you through the day's top stories. Now, every day we ask you, the viewers, about which stories you want to know more about. And today it seems you want to know about the protest taking place against the Citizenship Amendment Act. Remember the protest that's been taking place at Shaheen Bagh, that's been going on for over a month by the women of Shaheen Bagh, has actually led to other protests, similar protests in other parts of the country. There have been protests in Gaya, in Patna, in Kolkata as well, where the protest has been going on for several days now. It's been over a month that the women of Shaheen Bagh have been sitting in protest. They've been blocking an arterial road of Delhi, which in itself has become a big controversy, but they've been sitting in protest against the Citizenship Amendment Act, as well as the violence that took place on the campus of Jamia University on the 15th of December when there was a police crackdown on campus and several students were injured. Now, the women, however, are determined to continue. They claim they're going to continue till the Citizenship Amendment Act is rolled back by the government, but there's no such indication that's going to happen. And even as other protests are taking place in other parts of the country, a controversy has also taken place over the fact that the road that they're sitting on is an arterial road of Delhi that connects Delhi to Noida. And because of this protest that's been carrying on for over a month now, the traffic has all gone to the other route, and it's creating massive traffic jams and delays. So there is some amount of anger among people of Delhi and commuters over the delays that are taking place. But these women say that yes, it is an inconvenience to others about this road being blocked, but they say that they are fighting to clear the road ahead for their children and against a law which they see as discriminatory. They say that even if the government claims that CAA does not affect any Indian citizen as it's to do with illegal immigrants, they say, but given the government's promise of bringing NRC, which was made earlier, of course, now the Prime Minister has claimed NRC is not on the table, but given that in the past they have said that they're going to bring NRC, and it is always there in the background, this fear of NRC combined with the CA, something that is creating a lot of insecurity among them. And of course, the Shaheen Bagh protest has become something of an iconic protest in India. It's the longest such civil protest in modern India. It's been going on over a month now. The other big story is the Bhim Army Chief Chandrashekhar Azad, who was finally granted bail yesterday after staying in jail from the 20th or 21st of December. Now, he went to Jama Masjid today. He was finally let go on bail yesterday. The judge, in fact, in the entire matter really took the Delhi police to task, saying they hadn't been able to prove any of the allegations against the Bhim Army chief, that he caused any sort of violence or rioting. All he did was come to Jama Masjid and read the preamble of the Constitution on the 20th of December. And NDTV's Saurabh Shukla even spoke to Chandrashekhar Azad after he was released from jail yesterday, and Chandrashekhar told him that all I did was read the preamble. So how is that even a crime? Which is something the judge also said in the case that when she took the Delhi police to task, saying you have not proven anything, and how is it a problem to protest? It's every citizen's right to protest. But interestingly, so today, even though Chandrashekhar has been asked to leave Delhi within 24 hours of his bail, he's also been told not to come to Delhi for 4 weeks. But even so, today the first thing he did, he first went to the Ravidas temple in South Delhi. And then again, sure enough, he was there at Jama Masjid where he addressed the crowds there. Again, he read the preamble of the Constitution. He also said we must continue our peaceful protest against what he called the Kala Kanun, the black law, which is the Citizenship Amendment Act. He is also going to be addressing a press conference later. He will also be visiting a Gurudwara and a church. And then finally, he will leave Delhi by the evening, though his lawyer has said that he's going to be challenging these restrictions, because on the one hand the judge did say it's every citizen's right to protest, but why is Chandrashekhar then being restricted or being kept out of Delhi? Why? He's also been told not to go to Shaheen Bagh. That's also very interesting that he's been asked not to go to this one big protest that has become something of an iconic protest against the Citizenship Amendment Act. So these are the restrictions that have been put on him, that he has to leave Delhi within a few hours. There you can see this was earlier when he was reading out the preamble, and then he said we must continue our protest against the Citizenship Amendment Act. Also, as we said, he's going to leave by the evening, and he is also going to be addressing a press conference before he does that, and his lawyer is also going to be challenging the reasons for him being restricted in this manner. So as I said, he visited the Ravidas temple in the morning, now Jama Masjid, where Friday prayers took place, and it's after that he read the preamble, and then he plans to go to Bangla Sahib Gurudwara and a church, and then he's going to leave by 9 o'clock, because remember, it was yesterday at 9 that he finally made bail. Now, the other big story is Jeff Bezos's visit to India, and also the fact that the Indian government, no one from the government has actually met with Jeff Bezos. There are reports, sources, that he sought a meeting with the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister, remember, has always been quite open to meeting any high-profile foreign investor, and Jeff Bezos has said that he's going to be investing $1 billion in India, but even so far he hasn't been met by anyone in the government. We're told that he had sought a meeting with the Prime Minister, that was also not granted, and the reasons behind this, you have the BJP hitting out at Jeff Bezos because he owns Washington Post, which has often been very critical of the Modi government. They've often published articles that have criticized the Indian government, various actions of the Indian government, and the BJP has come out and said this. Vijay Chautawale of the chief of the BJP Foreign Affairs Department has said there's a lot of problem with the newspaper's coverage of India, but he did not give any specific examples. So this is being seen as the reason why we're not seeing Jeff Bezos receiving the kind of red carpet welcome we usually see to somebody so high profile coming in India, and somebody also willing to invest $1 billion. In fact, not just that, yesterday you had Piyush Goyal, the union minister, actually also saying that it's not a big deal with Amazon investing this $1 billion, that Amazon and Flipkart need to follow the rules. There's all this talk of sort of the practices that they follow. So the fact that Piyush Goyal would bring up something like that during a talk that he was giving was also seen as a part of this tension with Jeff Bezos. And Piyush Goyal said they may have put in $1 billion, but then they make a loss of $1 billion every year. Then they jolly well have to finance that $1 billion. So it's not as if they're doing a great favor to India when they invest $1 billion. So that's what Piyush Goyal said yesterday. But today, Jeff Bezos has actually come out with an open letter which has been put on the Amazon India site, in which he talks about how he's going to invest this $1 billion and also how he's going to create 1 million jobs, that's 10 lakh jobs by 2025. And so it is being seen as a reaction maybe to the sort of treatment he's been given, the fact that he comes out with this letter in which he makes all these promises, and he praises India. He says, I fall more in love with India every time I return. The boundless energy, innovation and grit of the Indian people always inspire me. And today, Piyush Goyal, in fact, has come out and said that his statement yesterday was misconstrued, that he did not mean any sort of criticism or snub to Amazon. He was merely saying that the companies have to all follow the law and have to be within, legal parameters in the kind of business that they do. So this is the other interesting story that is happening right now, that Jeff Bezos comes out with this letter promising that $1 billion investment, promising creating 10 lakh jobs by 2025, even though he's received something of a cold shoulder from the Indian government. No meetings, no high-profile meetings with anyone. The Prime Minister also has not met him. And usually, remember, every time somebody big has come, especially a high-profile foreign investor, we've seen meetings with the Prime Minister. So this is a story to watch out for. Jeff Bezos coming out with this letter and this promise of creating 10 lakh jobs. And the big international story, of course, is the US President Donald Trump. The impeachment trial begins, but Donald Trump is acting as if it's not bothering him at all, and he's going to be making a trip to the Davos at the World Economic Forum. He's going to be there, so that's very interesting. While at home, this trial begins, his impeachment trial, and Trump is confident of going through, and he's going to be going to Switzerland for the World Economic Forum. He said, I will be going to Davos. I'll be meeting the biggest business leaders in the world, getting them to come here. I'll also be meeting with foreign leaders. So that is what Trump is saying, even as at home, the trial in his impeachment case begins. So that's all the time we have today. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.